Hello everyone. Anyone who can see the live videos can also watch this one. Hi. I'm inviting our guest. Yes, invite. Let's see if you can. Hi. Так, звука нет. А я ничего пока не говорю. Слышно? Hi.
There we
So
go.
some. Hi. Happy to see you. Some
You
of
too.
our followers are telling me that now it's okay that something was with the sound, but now it's fine. So let's start. Thank you. We'll start this video. I will introduce myself. My name is Lisa, and I'm a co-founder of the Starwise app. It's an astrological application. And today we have Radhikesh. Radhikesh is Jyotish, very experienced astrologer, and I hope that he will share with us some interesting things about how astrology can help us to live our life. Especially, we will focus on relationships. How is it possible to use astrology to improve our life, to improve our relationships, how we can cope with different difficulties. And first of all, I'd like to ask Radhikesh to introduce yourself. Please share us some things about you. How long have you been practicing astrology?
Yes, of course. Happy to be here with everyone. I'm so grateful for everyone being with us today to learn a little bit about astrology. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then we'll talk about what astrology is. You know, sometimes people hear all kinds of different things about what astrology is or is not. Some people think it's like a little old lady looking into a crystal ball and all of these things. You know, let's look at all of that. So my name is Radhikesh. As Lisa mentioned, I am a Vedic astrologer. My family has been doing astrology for generations. My grandfather, his father, you know, as far back as we know, everybody was doing astrology. So this is like in the family. It's our bloodline, if you want to think of it that way. I've been a medical doctor for many years here in the United States, and now I am doing full-time astrology work because I just felt really pulled in the direction by the divine to come to do this type of work. And what is astrology? You know, what does it do? And I have a book coming out on astrology. It should be out in a couple of months if people want more information. So astrology, if you think about it, what is it? People have different ideas. If you take the moment in time that you're born, okay, and you look up at the sky at that exact moment in time, the position of the planets and the stars and all the other constellations, everything that's there has a very profound impact upon us. They are writing a map of our life, okay? Our life, in many ways, karma that we're bringing from the past is coming with us. And so that's what astrology does. Every planet, every star, every, you know, position of the moon is having an impact on us, not just when we're born, but throughout our entire life. And this is a science that in the modern world is completely missed. So we think we go through life that everything just happens that is random and that, you know, it's chaotic and all of this. But no, everything has a rationality and reason behind it. That divine hand of God is behind everything that happens in our life. And this is the important thing to remember. Whenever I do an astrology reading for someone, the first thing I tell them and the last thing I tell them is that just remember that you are not going through this journey of life alone. The divine Lord is with you at every step. And this is important to remember. The entire universe is working to help you become the best you can be. Of course, we go through struggles. And you know, today we're talking a lot, and we're going to hopefully talk more and more about struggles related to relationships and marriage and all of this type of thing, which is, of course, one of the biggest things for all of us. You know, you want to find the right relationship. You want it to be happy and peaceful throughout your life and everything get along well. And you can see this through astrology. You can see your health, you can see your financial situation, you can see your marriage, you can see your relationships with other people, you can see your own personality. And we all go through different karmas. There's different karmas that come at different times in our life. And if people look back, they may realize, oh, there's times in my life where things were really a struggle and nothing was working. And then 6 months later, everything was perfect and I never looked back. Or they're like, I married this person and I thought they were great. And we went through such a struggle. And then we ended up getting divorced, or this type of thing. Well, in astrology, what you can see is, yeah, there's a marriage and the marriage is going through some difficulties. But a lot of times when you just take a deeper look at your karma, and that's what the astrological chart is, it's a roadmap of your karma. When you look at that, you can see, okay, my partner right now is going through a little bit of tough time. And what I tell a lot of people when that happens, say, look, wait 6 months or wait a year, whatever that time period may be on the chart. Things will improve and steady out. Or you're going through this right now. Sometimes people are like, oh, I can't communicate with my partner well. They're not understanding me. I'm not able to speak, or I'm frustrated. A lot of times it's simply a planetary movement. And as we patiently wait through that karma, things improve and the relationship gets much better. So patience and an understanding of where that karma is coming from and learning through that karma. And this is the other thing that as time goes on, we'll talk about. Our karma is there for us to learn from. The things that come into our life, we don't control so much, but we control how we respond to them. And depending on, whether we're in a Saturn period or a Rahu period or a Mars period or whatever it may be, the responses may be a little bit different. But those responses will determine how things go in, the next year or the year after or the future years of our life. Very important to know that karma or astrology is not written in stone. We are fully empowered if something is happening to change it. Okay, there's so many things we can do through our choices, through mantras, through different things. We can change the karma that's there in our life. So, you have something going on and you want to reduce that negative effect, whether it's in a relationship or in your health or your job or whatever it may be. Well, astrologically, there's things you can do to help that along. So this is a wonderful ancient Vedic science that is very nicely applicable to every single person's life in a very practical way, even today.
I'd like to, you mentioned some words like previous life and karma. So I know that the astrology, the main idea is that we have previous life, we're going to have future life, but maybe here we have some people who don't believe in that, or maybe who doesn't know at all what is that.
Right.
Maybe you can share with us the main ideas of this philosophy.
Of course. Yes, I think this may be, unusual terms or unusual concepts to a lot of people out there. But there's two ways to understand this. Number one, every person out there should recognize and understand that you have this very wonderful opportunity because you have a human form of life. Okay? And in that beautiful human form of life, you have the ability to understand your relationship with the universe. Each of you has a relationship with the universe, an individual and personal relationship with the universe. And this comes from, and we can talk about past lives, we can talk about all of that, but let's focus on where you are now. In your current life, you have the ability to understand your relationship with divinity at the deepest level. And what does that do? When you understand your relationship with divinity at the deepest level, what does it bring? It brings happiness, satisfaction, joy, strength. It brings, an end to depression and anxiety and worry, despite whatever is going on in our material life. Let me give an analogy that may help explain this for people. If you go to the ocean, and there's some rocks there and you go and sit on those rocks and there's these big 10-meter waves coming and they're constantly bashing you over and over and over again. You sit there and you're going to be like, oh my God, this is so terrible. I'm getting hit by these waves over and over again. And what are those waves? Those waves are, I'm getting divorced. My husband is not nice to me. My wife is not paying attention to me. My children are not grateful for the things I'm doing for them. I'm having a problem with my coworkers. I don't have enough money. I'm feeling depressed. I'm being, my coworkers are abusing me. My boss is not kind to me. I have a health problem. So many different things come. Now, those waves are constant. In this world, anybody who's been around in this world for long enough in this life knows that there's always struggles. There's always difficulties, despite what we try to show on the outside. Now, if you go into the ocean and you go 10 meters below the surface of the ocean, what you have is a constant, gentle current that's flowing. And that is each of you, each of your individual relationships with the universe, your relationship with divinity. And the more you focus on the deeper relationship you have with the divine, it's not that the problems on the surface are not going on. The waves are still coming, and they'll always come. But you perceive those waves in a very different way. You deal with those waves in a very different way. And ultimately, you'll deal with them in a way that makes them go away forever. So this is, and astrology can help us understand that map of when these ups and downs are going to come. But yes, each and every one of you has a very powerful relationship with divinity. It's just a question of becoming aware of its presence in our own life. And that's certainly something we can talk about more, of how we become aware of that presence and how we become, happy, satisfied, and peaceful in our life, despite all the externals that may be there. We see so many people who seem like they have everything, movie stars, famous people, rich people, and they have, the houses and the cars and the planes and all this other stuff. But what are they kill themselves, or they're severely depressed, or they're going through very heavy problems in their life. All these things are going on. So what is it? They're missing a deeper connection. There's something that, despite having all the accoutrements and all the wonderful things that this world can bring, it makes people in many ways more frustrated, more sad, more upset. But once you add a little bit of this divine energy into your life, what it does, it links you to the universe. And once you're linked to the universe, the energy that flows through the entire universe, that flows through you and me and every plant and animal and living entity in the entire, not on just on this planet, but in the entire universe. Once you connect to that energy, your life is transformed. And no matter what you go through, that energy is consistently and continuously flowing through you and helping you live the most wonderful life.
And you're just sharing these wonderful ideas, and I'm thinking maybe if we accept that there is a divine force behind, so all our relatives, all our partners were sent also by this divine energy, and they are with us not by chance, not randomly, but just according to certain laws, rules. What do you think? What can you tell about it?
Absolutely. Everybody who's in your life, you have a karmic relationship with. The good ones and the bad ones, okay? Everybody, not just all the good ones, but everybody, the good ones and the bad ones, people who bring joy into your life and the people who bring struggles. And sometimes the ones who bring joy are the ones who bring struggles, maybe the same people. These are all karmic relationships. These are people that we are bonded with through karmic energies from a long time ago. And we grow together, or you grow through different people. And you may have some people whose relationship is negative, and there's karmic cycles related to that. And this is another concept. We all go through karmic cycles with other people. And there may be a certain time that you're meant to stay with somebody, or that, you have somebody who's giving you difficulties and you have some karma to complete with them. Well, you can complete it and move on. But yes, everybody is related to us in this way. And we can understand every relationship in a much greater dimension when we look into our life this way.
And what about our partners? So it's obvious that they are closer, maybe sometimes harder than others. For example, our wives and husbands, they are much more have bigger impact on our life, isn't it?
Of
Why
course,
it's happening?
this is the.
Who are these people? Who are our partners?
This is, a marital relationship or a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. A close, is one of the most intimate and special relationships there is. And it can be the most beautiful relationship. So people come into our lives and they become our partners, again, because of past karma. We're meant to do some things together, to grow together, sometimes go through struggles together. But in the end, this relationship is for both people's growth, to grow together strongly in our understanding of each other, to grow deeper in our love of each other, and to grow deeper in our understanding of our deeper relationship with the divine. Now, sometimes, of course, in a relationship, there's struggles, but most of the time, if we can simply understand the other person's nature, be a little bit humble or a little bit tolerant of each other to some degree, things work out very smoothly in this way. And that's really one of our goals here for everyone out there, is just to help you have the best and most wonderful relationship, to be able to understand each other, understand the ups and downs that come with a relationship, but that at the deepest level, that there's a commitment to helping each other grow and become stronger and achieve your greatest potential in this life.
Mm-hmm. In our application, we have a compatibility feature, and I would like to ask you how it works. Can we avoid having all our, let's say, karmic problems, finding a proper partner? Or if it is a destiny, whatever we do with this compatibility doesn't work, we will go anyway through all the problems we have to go through.
This is the most amazing thing about astrology, is that you are fully empowered to change things. Okay. If you're meant to go through some difficulty, and you know that ahead of time, okay, I'm meant to go through this particular difficulty in my life, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I can see astrologically that this is there, then you can do things to change that. So we are not bound by that destiny in that way. Now, if we're, walking towards a cliff that has a 500-foot fall, and somebody tells us, hey, be careful, there's a fall up ahead, but we simply close our eyes and keep walking, well, then you're going to fall and you're going to deal with those problems. But if somebody can tell you, 5 years ahead of time, this is something like happens commonly, like I'll tell somebody, look, in 5 years, for this 6-month period, your husband is going to be really struggling, really depressed, but after that, he's going to be totally fine. And then you have kind of an idea like, okay, there's going to be a period of time. And when that time comes, you prepare for it, you go through it, you minimize it astrologically in many ways as much as you can. And then that's part of his karma and it's part of your karma. And you go through it together, and then it's over and the relationship becomes deeper and stronger. So otherwise, if you don't do any of those things, it creates a big turmoil and it can lead to, separation, divorce, fighting, problems for children, all these other things that happen. So yes, each one of you is fully empowered when you see these things to say, hey, okay, I know this is coming. Let me do something to take care of it. And compatibility studies are so important. Not just when you get married, but if you're going to start a relationship, if you're going to start a business partnership, they can be very good. Because what they do, they tells you about each other, your physical nature, your psychological nature, your spiritual nature, how you'll respond to difficulties, what is going to make your partner more receptive to you, what is going to push your partner away from you, and how you are going to both have when your good and bad times in life are. And then when you can see that, it's just a lot more information to make your life go more smoothly. Because if you know all these things that about your partner and about yourself, a lot of times actually people think they know themselves, and then they get an astrological reading done and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know I was this way. I only acted, like this, and now I understand why I was acting that way. Or yes, I went through this difficulty 4 years ago. If I had known it was going to be over in 4 months, my choices I would have made during that time would be completely different. A lot of times, when we go through difficulties or problems, people are like, oh my God, my life is always going to be like this. It's never going to change. I'm in such a struggle. My husband's never going to change. My wife's never going to change. But they do. If we simply wait for the right times to come, the changes do happen.
Mm-hmm. And also, what about prediction? So, sometimes I know that when people come to astrologers, they used to ask, how many marriages will I have? Do
Sure.
I have divorce? Can you see when it will happen and so on? How can you command this?
So, of course, astrology is a science of prediction. Okay. So you can see if someone has karma for difficulties related to relationships or difficulties related to marriage, that you can say, oh, yeah, at this time, your marriage, because of these factors of Saturn or Rahu or Mars, your marriage may go through some difficulties. Or that, yeah, there is some karma for divorce at this time. But there's several things you can do about that. Number one, I look at my own chart. My own chart had karma that I was meant to get divorced in my life. But when I got married, I married somebody whose karma nullified that. Okay, that balanced that out. And now I've been married for almost 25 years. So, you have people you can match with, which minimizes the karma that you're dealing with. So that's very important. And wherever there are difficulties related to marriage, in your life, it may not manifest as, oh, Saturn's doing this. It may manifest that I don't trust my partner. I yell at my partner too much. I don't have respect for them. Therefore, I treat them poorly. I'm not grateful to the things that they're doing. And that may be how you're reacting. But then if you look more deeply at the astrological chart, you can say, well, you're acting that way because of this Scorpio energy or this Rahu energy or this moon energy. And then you fix that, and all of a sudden you're feeling better and your relationship becomes better. So again, yes, you can have karma for divorce or 2 marriages or 3 marriages or any of that in your life. But if you understand more deeply where that comes from, you can do something about it, because divorce doesn't happen, or separation or problems don't happen in a vacuum. They happen, you don't wake up one day and say, okay, I'm done with this. This happens over years, and it's years of anger and frustration and not talking about things. And you need understanding yourself, like, hey, why am I acting like this? Or why is my partner acting like this? And that's where we can look deeper and say, okay, this is why this is going on. And let's do these things. This problem will be minimized.
That's
So
really great.
yeah, you can do everything in your power to reduce the karma that you're dealing with. You are fully empowered, each and every one
This
of you.
sounds like if we have a knowledge, we can undergo lots of hard things, these difficulties in our life. And astrology definitely can give you this part of the knowledge about your life, about your astrological periods. And I would like to ask you for some practical advices. For example, if you already know that your husband or your wife will have some tough period in, for example, 2 months, how person can be ready for that?
Okay.
What practically she or he has to do?
Okay, it's a very good question. I'll give some very practical examples, because I'm doing this every single day for people. I did a reading last week for a couple, and one of the things that came up, okay, 6 months from now, there's a 4-month period where you're going to have many expenses, okay, much more than you expect. Suddenly something's going to come up, your electricity bill is going to be higher, or your car has a problem or something like this. Some unexpected expense is going to come up. So if you know that, what you can do is start saving up money. So when that time comes, and I said, look, spend these next few months, don't spend extra right now, save up the money. So then when this car expense comes, you have it and it doesn't bother you, and you flow through it very smoothly. This is very practical. One other thing I see very commonly is that people will go through different periods where they're pulled towards extramarital affairs or relationships. There's some energy that pulls them in that direction. And I tell them that. I said, look, you're going to go through this period. It can be a month, it can be 4 months, 6 months, where you're going to either, someone's going to come after you outside of marriage, or you're going to feel like, oh, I want to go through this. I said, during this time, you be aware, be very conscious that these thoughts are going to happen, and protect yourself. Be at home, appreciate your family more. Don't put yourself in a situation where this can happen. Don't be in an environment where this is easy to happen. And this will pass. And people who listen and they protect themselves in that way, they pass through that very easily. So, these are two very practical ways, but there can be a period in someone's life like, look, you're going to go through this 6-month period that's going to be like a big struggle for you mentally. You're going to be depressed, you're going to be angry, you're going to be all of this. So what do? You can do a few things. Number one, as soon as you're aware of it, okay, what it does, and then all of a sudden, 6 months later, boom, one day it hits you. You understand at a deeper level, this is karma. I don't control all of these things that come into my life, but I can control how I choose to respond to this. And this helps because you understand it's coming not from you, but from something a little bit more subtle. And this helps us understand. And once we have an understanding of where, a knowledge of where this is coming from, that allows us to pass through it much easier. So this knowledge will just fully empower you to do things. And then, of course, astrologically, when problems are a little bit stronger, or people don't think they can fully do it themselves, we have certain, I'll just call them medicines in astrology. We call them remedies that we can use to help reduce these effects in your life.
Will you share with us what kind
Yeah.
of medicines?
Of course. So there's 5 main types of remedies we use in astrology, okay? The most common one and the most powerful one I use is gemstones. Gemstones are, so there's gemstones, there's yagyas, which are like sacrifices, fire sacrifices, which are ancient Vedic hymns are chanted to bring pacification of these different energies. You can chant certain mantras like the Hare Krishna mantra, which can be very powerful. We'll talk more about mantras as time goes on. You can you can wear certain different colors, or you can give in charity. All these things are spoken of in the ancient scriptures from thousands of years ago, that if you do these things, these planetary influences will be reduced. And I use that a lot for people, especially when you're going through some heavy issues, whether it's related to a relationship or marriage. I'm speaking to somebody a little later today in a couple of hours who contacted me all of a sudden that her husband of 22 years is leaving her. Out of the blue, it came. So we're going to speak, and then, there's some gemstone remedies that I think will help that relationship and bring things back together. So there's several different things you can do. I tend to use gemstones the most because they are the most powerful thing and the easiest thing for most people to reduce a lot of that karmic energy we're dealing with, and make things just smoother and easier in our life.
This sounds really interesting. And coming back to our marriage relationships, I would like to ask you, for example, if we will now, lots of people will see this video. What do you think if you ask for our viewers who are watching this video to send us if they would like some their details, and we can comment if they, for example, are struggling now with the relationships with marriage, or they can't find a partner, and can we do it online if there is and the interest?
Of course, we happy. Anybody out there who's struggling, who's going through something, or who just wants to know a little bit about their own life, just send us send us your birth information. What we need is your date of birth, the time of birth, and the place of birth.
We can do it right.
I
now straight
we
if there are
yeah,
someone who'd like to try. And also I'd like to ask about, we were talking about divorces. Then you said that it is possible to see the nature of person, the reasons why the divorce might come. But what about marriage? There are so many single people who are looking for some partner, and the nothing happening. Can you please comment why it is happening? Why somebody is so easygoing in this sense, and somebody so for such a long time single?
yeah. If you look at people's astrological charts, and you'll see a lot of times this is an influence of Saturn. Okay, Shani. It's called in Sanskrit. The influence of Shani and some other planets also causes delays in relationships or keeps it from happening. Or what it does, even if it brings relationship into your life, it doesn't let it go to the next step, right? So many problems keep happening. So when you look at someone's chart, you can kind of see that, okay, this is what's causing it. This is where the problem is. Then we can fix that, And then, I had somebody very recently who now about 35 years old, been trying to get married forever, probably last 10 years, he's been trying to get married. Finally came to see me and nothing was happening. But his Venus is the planet of marriage, the planet of relationship, was in a very, very bad position. So we got him a gemstone for Venus. 6 months after that, he had 3 proposals for marriage. Said Indian guy, we were looking for a relation. 3 months or 3 proposals within that time period. And then he picked one, and he got married. So this is a very common thing. So when Jupiter represents the husband, so for a lot of ladies, if they can't find a good husband or things aren't working out, it can be a problem with Jupiter. And Venus is marriage in general. It can be a problem with Venus. It can be the problem with Libra. It can probably be the 7th house. There's so many different aspects. But, when there's a problem, if you can look at it at a deeper level, then we see where the problem is. Okay, this is a Jupiter issue. This is a Venus issue. This is a Saturn issue. Then we can do something to fix it. So it's not that these things aren't fixable. Okay, there are many things we can do. So but those are the main reasons this kind of happens for people.
I see. Okay, I think that as for now, I asked all the questions that I had. Maybe you'd like to add something extra from your side. What would you like to share with us?
Of course, of course. So for all of you out there who are listening, the most important thing to remember, if you're going, some relationship problem, or it's not working out, or you're looking for the right person and things aren't working out, you've tried everything you can, okay? Just remember that the universe is here to help you. The divine energy of the universe wants you to be happy, okay? And is pulling you in that direction. Take a deeper look. Take a look at the karma of your life. Take a deeper understanding of who you are. And through that astrological chart, you can then get an idea of why these things are happening and what you can do to change it. So each of you understand your own astrological roadmap and don't be frustrated with what life is bringing you. Simply learn of how you can change it and become happier in this world.
This is so wonderful. And also, I'd like to mention that we plan to make these live videos every second week. And for the next time, I would like to ask Radhikesh to do some comments about. We will find some celebrities who have passed divorce.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how it happening in a practical way, and how maybe if they would come to astrologer, what would astrologer say, and how we could help people to undergo a hard period of life.
I think that will be a very fascinating thing to do, and I look forward to doing that.
Great. And if you have any ideas of the names of that couples, please don't be shy to share with us asking.
Yeah, if somebody out there has like, oh, I want to know about what happened to this particular celebrity, this person, please let us know. Be happy to look at those charts, and we'll discuss them on the app, on the show.
Okay. So I'm so grateful to you. You have, in this almost 40 minutes, you shared with us so many interesting things, and we touched a little bit the ancient wisdom that can really help to live in this material world. And maybe even we have a chance, and according to you, we have certainly a chance to live happy life, knowing in advance so let's say hellos from karma.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
thank you so much,
Of
and
course.
see you next time.
Yes, of course. Goodbye, everyone.
Cheers.